Jeremy Brown dedicated his life to serving his country. As a Green Beret, he bravely fought for America's freedom and security. He earned 2 Bronze Stars for his valor and sacrifice. After retiring from the military, Brown continued to serve his community. He ran for public office, hoping to make a difference in the lives of his fellow citizens. Brown was also an outspoken critic of government overreach. He believed in holding those in power accountable. He became a whistleblower, exposing what he saw as abuses by the FBI. He warned Americans about the dangers of unchecked surveillance. He spoke out against the erosion of civil liberties. Brown's actions made him a target. The FBI, the very agency he sought to hold accountable, turned its attention on him. On September 30, 2021, a heavily armed FBI tactical team stormed his home in Tampa, Florida. This raid, Brown and his supporters believe, was not about upholding the law, but about silencing a critic. It was a show of force designed to intimidate and silence dissent. Brown's case raises serious questions about the state of freedom in America. Is it open season on whistleblowers? Can the government target individuals for their political beliefs? Brown's story is a stark reminder of the importance of protecting dissent and holding power accountable. The FBI raid on Brown's home was excessive and unjustified. Agents spent 5.5 hours ransacking his property. They overturned furniture, rifled through personal belongings, and left a trail of destruction in their wake. But what they claimed to find during the raid is even more disturbing. Brown was accused of possessing unregistered firearms, explosives, and classified documents. The most serious allegations centered around 2 hand grenades that the FBI claimed to have found in his garage. Brown vehemently denied these charges. He insisted that the grenades as well as the classified documents were planted by the FBI as a way to discredit and silence him. Adding weight to Brown's claims, forensic evidence presented at trial showed no trace of his DNA or fingerprints on the grenades. This crucial detail casts serious doubt on the government's narrative. Furthermore, inconsistencies in the photographic evidence, particularly regarding the alleged classified documents, further fueled suspicions of a setup. The FBI's alleged actions are a blatant attack on the Constitution. Planting evidence is a grave abuse of power. It strikes at the very heart of our justice system. If the government can manufacture evidence against its critics, then none of us are safe. Brown's trial, which began in December 2022, was marred by controversy. Despite the lack of physical evidence linking him to the grenades, the prosecution pushed forward with their case. They portrayed Brown as a dangerous extremist, relying heavily on his association with the Oath Keepers, a group he was briefly associated with after the 2020 election. The prosecution also sought to use Brown's presence at the January 6th Capitol protest against him. While Brown admitted to being present outside the Capitol that day, he was never accused of entering the building or engaging in any violence. However, the prosecution used his presence there to paint a picture of an individual intent on overthrowing the government. Despite the prosecution's efforts, Brown remained defiant. He took the stand in his own defense, proclaiming his innocence and denouncing the government's case against him as a politically motivated witch hunt. The jury ultimately found Brown guilty on 6 of the 7 counts against him, including possession of unregistered firearms and explosives. The judge, Susan C. Bucklew, dismissed Brown's claims of planted evidence as ridiculous and sentenced him to 87 months in federal prison. Brown's conviction and sentencing sent shockwaves through the veteran and activist communities. Many viewed it as a blatant miscarriage of justice, a clear case of the government silencing a critic through fabricated charges and a biased prosecution. The hashtag #FreeJeremyBrown quickly gained traction on social media as supporters rallied around the imprisoned veteran. Rallies were held, petitions circulated, and calls for his release grew louder. Several Republican lawmakers, including U.S. Reps Anna Paulina Luna, Gus Bilirakis, and Florida State Rep. Bernie Jacques, wrote letters to the court requesting leniency for Brown, citing his military service and questioning the evidence presented against him. Brown's case is a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom in America. When the government can silence its critics through intimidation, raids, and dubious charges, our democracy is in peril. The fight to free Jeremy Brown is about more than just one man. It's about defending the right to dissent, protecting whistleblowers, and holding the powerful accountable. Jeremy Brown may be behind bars, but his voice will not be silenced. The movement to free him is gaining momentum, fueled by a growing awareness of the injustices he has faced. The truth about what happened to Jeremy Brown must be exposed. His case should serve as a wake-up call to all Americans. We must remain vigilant in defending our freedoms and holding our government accountable. The fight for Jeremy Brown is a fight for the soul of our nation.